This is Yerushalmi Shabbos. We are on Daf Mem Tesam Rav in the article Oz V'Hadar edition. Kinu Perak Klagoro. That is in the Vilna edition on Daf Lamed Tesam and base. Klagoro Onmur B'Shabbos. It's a great principle of Shabbos. Koshrech Ika Shabbos. Anybody who forgets the the fundamental principle of Shabbos. There is a concept of Shabbos. For us, Melachos Harbe b'Shabbos Harbe many Melachos, many Shabbosos. Ain't Chai V'Chatas Achas. Only is liable to one Chatas for his forgetfulness of Shabbos. Everything else is subsumed under that Chatas. Ve'Yedei Shabbos. Somebody who knows the principle of Shabbos, which means that's also to do work on Shabbos, but he forgets what work is also. Vasam Melachos Harbe Shabbos is Harbe. He did many acts of Melachos on many Shabbos. He's on many Shabbosos. Chayav Shabbos is chayav for each and every Shabbos that he violated. One chatas per Shabbos. Vayideshu Shabbos. Somebody knows that it is Shabbos, and knows specifically that it is Shabbos. Also, Melachos Harbe Shabbos Harbe many Melachos on many Shabbosos. Chayav Melacha. He's chayav in each and every Melacha which he did, but only one per Melacha. The wasn't even though he did many times, of course, many Shabbosos, but since he was not aware of the Melachos, he's only chayiv on each Melacha, so he's always forgot for what he forgot. There's many Melachos which are all talodos of the same Melacha, all derivatives of the same Melacha. And chayiv one chatas for the overarching category of under which all these talodas fall, not for each and every individual taloda. Okay, all these things are going to be discussed in the Gemara. What does it mean? A great principle. It's greater than another principle. You have the principle of Shvius. Why? Shabbos Kol. Shabbos devolves upon everything. All types of activities. Shvius only applies to things which are connected to the ground. No, it doesn't go beyond that. Tamati went over there. Cloud go to Shvius. Well, says what about the fact that it's cloud go to Shvius? What's the cloud? Why Shvius a cloud go? Relative to what? If you're saying cloud means greater than some other cloud, so then why is cloud go Shvius? Just that Shvius is lesser than Shabbos. Rabbi Sarabun shu go to Mikla Maisus. It's greater than the cloud say by Maisus. Shvius no chala bena kochel bema. Shemitah applies both to human food and to animal food. But Maisus only applies to the foodstuffs which human beings use, eat. Tiny by kapara. So in the Brisa by kapara, it says until now for the one by Shvius is of Mishnah, and this is in the Brisa. The Brisa by kapara. Klal gadol amru meisus. Mal klal gadol. Why is the klal gadol? Well, again, what's greater than? It's greater than the cloud of Peah. Why? Because Shamaisis devolves on produce that one does stockpile and produce which one cannot stockpile because it's spoiled. Peah only applies to produce which can be put into storage. Those who want to say Mao Mikan, she yesh lemati menu. There's the cloud doesn't mean greater than another subject, but there are other klalim in that area of halacha which are lesser significance. So according to until now we're learning that it's cloud means relative to other areas of halacha. And now we're learning that it's relative to this halacha itself. The Kormei brings another pshat. Says that there is klagoro means where there's avos and tolodos. So then we use the lashon klagoro, which is talking about the issue of Avos in our Mishnah, the beginning of the Mishnah starts at Avos, the probably gets to the Lotus at the end of the Mishnah. Okay, so the Anantina, Kol Shochech Iker Shabbos. So we learned in our Mishnah, anybody who forgets the primary principle of Shabbos. Tiny base Rebbe, they learned a different version of Mishnah, Kol She'eno Yodea Iker Shabbos. Somebody who does not know the primary principle of Shabbos. Rabbi Lezer learned like our Mishnah. Lezer Kamas Nisan. Tiny base Rebbe. Rabbi Yochanan learned his version was like they taught in the house of Rebbe. So the Chassam Sefer at the bottom of the page in the Vilna Shah says, Rabbi Lezer Masizukule Vavasakadak the Plike. The assumption is that they argue. The Shochech Mashma Hikrim Sof Shochach. The Kol Shochech, as the Mishnah, sounds like he knew and then forgot. Ben Yodea Masha Shochach Meikara. And Yodea sounds like he never knew. Shochach Meikara means that he was never aware. Asa Rav, and Rav is going to come. Amar Adahu Perish Gam Girsa Shochech Udin Nami Huadin Shochach Meikara Kukura. No, that's going to that Shochech also does not mean forgetfulness as he admitted, but that he never knew. And the brackets says she does say, but Bavli, Rashon Dari Davayu, who adin Tinok Shenishba. Okay, so let's see that in Gemara inside. Mad the Rav Rabbi Lezer Mar Koshrer Iker Shabbos. So that's what it says. Where it says Lezer says Amar Koshrer Iker Shabbos, which sounds like him any of there called Iker Potter. Sounds like if you have to have known and then forgotten in order to be chayiv even one chatas. But if you never knew, you're going to be potter altogether. No chatas whatsoever. I mean, the Rav Tani Masis the potter law from the way the Rav learned our Mishnah and explained it. Iker Shabbos. What is the perush in Iker Shabbos? What does it mean? Shkatan shenishba ben akum. It's about a child who was taken captive among the non-Jews. Hadamra, he hada. So it teaches us, no, it means somebody, Shenishba, who never knew about Shabbos. Even the Kira says, shocheach, like we have in our Mishnah. Nevertheless, the meaning is that shachuach meikara, he never knew about Shabbos to begin with. The Taras and Shari Shonim, the learned to the Bavli argues, and that let me just check what he says. Yeah, he says that in the Bavli and Shabbos, Chesam Beis, it says both say that it's only hikr b'sov shachach, that you only chayiv a korban chatas if you knew about Shabbos at one point and then forgot other tinok shnishva as potter altogether. And he brings down Tessim Suvas from Kuf Beis Amrav, who says, Papi Shafi Yerushalmi Kosher Rabbi Yochanan. You know, Rabbi Yerushalmi, it's difficult because Rabbi Yochanan here sounds like he's saying that you chayiv a chatas even if you never knew it was Shabbos, and there was Shabbos, and in the Bible it sounds like only chayiv a chatas if at some point you knew there was Shabbos. Ein lachush, there's no concern. The bekam duchte pli agmar shalanu. So in many places, the Yerushalmi and Bavli have alternative traditions in what an Amora had said. The Ridbaz wants to reconcile the Bavli and Yerushalmi by distinguishing between the language of the Yerushalmi, which is the Bavli, which is Tinok Shenishba, and language of the Yerushalmi, which is Katan Shenishba. So, then therefore, Tinok Shenishba obviously would never have known. Katan Shenishba would have known at some point. So, Katan Shenishba Ben Akum in the Yerushalmi means he knew about Shabbos. Then because a very young child was taken captive after he had found out about Shabbos. Okay, that would reconcile the two topics. So the Gemara goes on here and says ha, and the article translates ha here as hine, and the Korban Eidah says that it's like this ha is like gufa. Right? So let's analyze this further, and there's the word ha in the next line actually is conventional meaning of what about. So in any event, but this means ha Rabbi Yochanan kol sheni yodei ikar Shabbos. Okay, Rabbi Yochanan said kol sheni yodei ikar Shabbos. So there's an inference in this ha. Now they based on one of the manuscripts. Well, unfortunately, take out the word eno. Next word eno. Some people change it to hoya. So hoya de b'shakach chayiv. Sounds like that the only reason you only chayiv one chatos is because you forgot Shabbos altogether. I mean, you didn't know about Shabbos altogether. Sorry, in other words, shakoch mekar. You didn't know about Shabbos altogether. But if you go there v'shachach, but if you knew about Shabbos and forgot it, you only chayiv each and every Shabbos. So it's more. I mean, Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Avo, B'Shem Rabbi Yotzachina, Kol Derech Rabbi Eliezer, from that which the Rabbi Yotzachina said in the name of that Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Avo said Rabbi Yotzachina. So this entire locha is like Rabbi Eliezer. This is the that would only be true according to Rabbi Eliezer, and our inference of Mishnah only true according to Rabbi Eliezer. And the Chasam Sofer in the bottom of Vilna says that holds that each Shabbos is like a separate body, just like by Bios Hasuros, by Nida, that each body is a separate Isser. Each person with whom one has separate Bia is a separate Isser. So to each Shabbos is a separate Isser. So therefore, because you be chayv each every Shabbos, it's like Gufi Mechulakim. But Barank Rabbanan, but according to Rabbanan, whole Shabbos is not considered like Gufi Mechulakim. The days between each Shabbos do not divide each Shabbos. Amra hiada. So therefore, it doesn't matter if you never knew about Shabbos or you knew about Shabbos and forgot, and therefore Shabbos was just a blur, or there was no, you didn't differentiate between Shabbos and Shabbos. They're not goofy mechulakim, and therefore you are therefore you're only chayv one on no matter how many Shabbos you're mechal, right? So the Brown Karboner in chayv elachas adamra he hada. So it would make no difference as long as you would not become aware of Shabbos between each Shabbos. So then, no matter how many Shabbos you mechal, only one carbon. Bon kumi braid Rabbi Yossi. So he asked in front of son Rabbi Yossi. At mashmat min avuch min Rabbi Yossi. What did you hear from your father, from Rabbi Yossi, about Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yossi, the same person, about the proper girsa? So Omar, he said, Rabbi Yochanan. He heard like Rabbi Yochanan. That the Gerson and Mishnah should be that kosher ain't the Iker Shabbos. That's the way it's learned on Mishnah. So with the inference that if you knew Iker Shabbos, might not necessarily and Shachar might not necessarily be saying same halacha. Despite the fact that Rabbanon increases, who's Rabbi Akiva says it is the same halacha. Chizkiah said, "Lochein lo marchein." He did not say this. Did not say that the version like Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Simon Bar Zavda Apash didn't pray. Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Simon Bar Zavda was learning this in the sugi with the son of Rabbi Yosef. But Shalmiyaka did Rabbi Lezer, and he heard from Halacha is that the Girsa is like Rabbi Lezer. That it's even if he's shocheach, right? Not just if. Kosheni Odea, like Rabbi Yochanan's version, but like our Mishnah actually said, Koshochech Iker Shabbos, which is like Rabbi Akiva in Krisis, that he even knew and forgot, he still only chayev one carbon on all the Shabbos. So the next word is Mitayan Milaya. The Karma explains that it means Notim Advarim. The words are inclined that way. In other words, that it seems that this is the proper girsa in our Mishnah is like Rabbi Eliezer. According to Pnei Moshe, means Matayim means Minayin Hadvarim. From where do we learn these words? And it's going on the following Gemara. In other words, how do we know this whole principle that there are different levels of Chiyuv Karbanos? Okay, so for us, we learn from the pasuk in the Torah. The pasuk is Daber Kol Bnei Yisrael Daber Bnei Yisrael Limor Nefesh Ki Yitzchak Tov Shekol Mikom Mitzvos Hashem Shlos Yasenu Basa Me'achas Mehena. Dollar base. So we learn out of that pasuk, and we dash the pasuk as follows: For Asa Achas V'Asa Hena V'Asa Mehena. Right? You do it says Achas and Mehena. So we dash is the achas, we dash nehena without the mem, dash nehena with the mem. For asa achas, right? So it's we did one. L'chayev achas v'achas. L'chayev each every melacha. Heina l'chayev kulan achas. To on all the melachas, l'chayev only one carbon. May heina l'chayev al tolados. Or mehena is b'chayvas on the tolodos. So we learn from each of these things to the words in the pasuk a different aspect of the chiyuv of bringing karbanos on Shabbos. So then the next Amud is going to talk about perhaps the pasuk is talking about avodah zarah, but that's already a next Amud, and so we'll stop here for the day.